Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, John W., Gaston, Gian S., Colin G., and Al S. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. First up today, a longtime Tesla bear has slightly upgraded his outlook on Tesla stock from sell to neutral, boosting his price target from 141 to 176. But before we go any further, let's look at the prediction tracker. So at the end of last year, this same analyst, Itay McCallie, said that GM was a top pick investment with a $96 price target and $200 upside long term. On that day, GM was trading at $58 per share. Fast forward roughly 1 year and GM is at $40 per share. Itay's next prediction on that same day was for Tesla stock. His new Tesla price target pre-split was $236. On that day, Tesla was trading at $1,070. So fast forward to today and we would multiply this current share price by 3 to get the pre-split equivalent, which is $534 per share. So even after Tesla's historic decline, Itay is still well off the mark with his Tesla price target from the end of last year. Further, let's look at his tip rank ratings, not very good, and his success rate and average return, not the best. So you can pause the screen to read if you'd like, but forgive me if I'm not that interested in what Itay has to say about Tesla. Now, what I will say, this does signify that even the staunchest of Tesla bears, maybe the exception of Gordon Johnson, are now starting to look around and think, wow, how low can Tesla really go given all of the positive catalysts ahead? We also got a new Tesla stock note from Morgan Stanley. They have their price target still at $330, implying significant upside. I just want to highlight two things. They said, according to this China auto analyst, China's EV sell-through seems to be weakening as sales growth is expected to decelerate to approximately 15% in 2023 compared to 70% in 2022. This is important because so much of the media right now is trying to talk about Tesla-specific problems with China demand, price wars, and everything. But again, as we've been saying for weeks, this slowdown is what Wall Street is watching, but it's not just specific to Tesla, it's the entire EV industry heading into a slowing economy in 2023. But eliminating all of the noise, just focus on this. Tesla is the only name we cover that generates a profit before incentives on the sale of EVs. Tesla is the only self-funding pure play EV name we cover. In a slowing economic environment, we believe Tesla's gap to competition can potentially widen, particularly as EV prices pivot from inflationary to deflationary. That's a big one. As we enter this economic slowdown, we should be expecting lower prices and more competition. Who is going to benefit the most? It's Tesla. They are best positioned to handle an economic recession. They have cash, they have manufacturing expertise, they have been and they continue to be aggressively focused on cutting costs wherever they can. They're best positioned to handle all of this. Morgan Stanley said Tesla is by far the best positioned OEM in terms of eligibility for the IRA credits. And finally, the current price offers approximately 100% potential upside to their $330 price target, which is the highest upside to target we have seen from Tesla in over 5 years. Shifting gears to Tesla's full self-driving beta, this right now is a very exciting time for this technology. Basically, the entire creation of this program has been leading up to this moment. We're right on the eve of a real wide release to anybody in North America who has paid for the service and has been waiting years to get their hands on it. Holmar said it appears to be the biggest push of FSD beta ever. Wouldn't be surprised if we're approaching 200,000 users in the US and Canada by now. And here we have even more confirmation. Holmars asks, FSD Beta 11 still looking on track for release to customer testers before Thanksgiving, which by the way is tomorrow. Elon said, yeah. Then what should happen in the weeks following Thanksgiving, this FSD 11 should go to a wider release and yes, a full wide release to anybody who has paid for the software if things go well. And further, when this wide release happens, now the take rate for this FSD software package for Tesla may go up because people know right when I pay for this, I'm actually going to have access to the features. I'm not going to have to wait another 2 or 3 years and maybe not get it at all. This right here is directly from Tesla's 10Q from Q3. They said, of the total deferred revenue on automotive sales, we expect to recognize $1.09 billion of revenue in the next 12 months. This figure is mostly made up of deferred FSD revenue. So what that means is when people purchased FSD over the years, whether it was $9,000, $15,000, whatever, Tesla would only recognize maybe we'll say half of that revenue up front, and then the other half would be put into this deferred revenue bucket that's only going to be recognized when Tesla actually has the features available for the FSD software package. So a wide release basically means all of the features are now available, aka Tesla can recognize all of that deferred revenue. And again, on new purchases of FSD, Tesla will be able to recognize 100% of that revenue right away, rather than having to defer around 50%. Right now, the take rate for Tesla's FSD software, it is obviously heavily dependent upon the region and geography and where these features are actually available. But in the United States, where we're focusing right now, it's around 15%. Now, obviously, we all want to see how FSD version 11 actually performs in the real world, but either way, so much work has gone into getting Tesla and the team to this point. So to all of the engineers working long hours, thank you. Congratulations on getting us here. Hopefully everything goes well from here on out. Many of you know I spent 3 years in the fitness industry, and I got to try and deal with hundreds of different supplement companies, and I got to learn how that industry really works on the inside. Point being, I've been around the block. And today, the latest research makes it evident our gut health has way more of an impact on our overall well-being than originally thought. And with most Americans being nutrient deficient, I wanted to do what I could to be on the right side of these statistics. Luckily, over the years, I've been watching a lot of Lex Fridman and a lot of the Institute of Human Anatomy on YouTube, and both of these channels have been recommending athletic greens. Fast forward to now, and AG1 is the sponsor of this video. AG1 has 75 different probiotics, minerals, and vitamins in every serving. Now, without key micronutrients, our bodies cannot function as intended. And yes, focus on nutrition from real unprocessed food first, but again, even that may not be enough. AG1 is also certified independently by NSF, so we can actually have confidence what's on the label is what we're actually getting. Right now, Athletic Greens is offering Electrified viewers a 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 travel packs for free with every new purchase. The link is in the description below. All right, here we go. You've probably seen this by now, but the president of South Korea had a video chat with Elon, and basically he asked Elon to open up a factory in, yes, South Korea, and Elon responded very favorably. Now, I will say, look, Tesla's going to have between 8 and 15 gigafactories over the next decade. So even if a factory in South Korea isn't the next one sequentially, I'm pretty confident one will be coming eventually. So what do we need to know about this market? First, the video conference details. Elon laid out Tesla's plans to build a gigafactory in Asia to produce finished EVs. So we're not just talking battery production or something else. The South Korean president, of course, was talking up South Korea's economy and all of that, and in response, Elon said he's considering South Korea as one of the top investment candidate sites, and that he plans to decide following a comprehensive review of other Asian candidate countries and their investment conditions. Tesla is considering human and technological skills and their production environment. Elon also expressed a commitment to investing in South Korea's EV charging infrastructure. And even without a factory, Elon is estimating that they will spend around $10 billion with South Korean business suppliers in 2023 alone. But in my opinion, one of the most important things that was said is right here. South Korean president said if there are unreasonable regulations hindering global high-tech innovation firms, the president will reform them to be in line with global standards. This signifies that the South Korean government is ready to move fast and pave the way for Tesla to move quickly, similar to what they did in Shanghai, hopefully avoiding what they had to deal with at Berlin. So first, what does the EV market look like in South Korea? Here we have 2022 year-to-date data. EV registrations in South Korea are up 72.7% year over year. Now, zooming out, only 5.96% of all vehicles in South Korea are considered green vehicles, which yes, includes hydrogen, hybrids, and plug-in hybrids, not just battery electric. But the market sentiment does seem to be changing. The number of full BEVs in the country has been somewhat low because the domestic manufacturing of these vehicles has been pretty limited. The main auto manufacturers in South Korea have been Hyundai and Kia, and they're only recently heavily investing in battery electric vehicles. So of course, with their expanded production of EVs, that number is starting to grow in South Korea. And again, importantly, the government is on board. South Korea's auto industry was the fourth largest producer of passenger cars in the world in 2021. Here's the historical passenger car sales data for the South Korean market. So if you take roughly 20% of these annual sales figures, that would be in the neighborhood of 300,000 to 400,000 cars that Tesla could capture in terms of the market share in this market. But of course, this would most likely turn into a place where Tesla can export from to the rest of the world, reducing its reliance on the Chinese market and the Chinese hub being the main and only export hub. Tesla does export cars from Fremont, but the scale is much smaller compared to Shanghai. And this is interesting from Pulse News Korea. 1.735 million cars were sold in Korea in 2021, down 9% from the previous year. But the auto market value actually expanded or grew, and the average car sale price climbed to 44.2 million won, which is equivalent to 40,000 US dollars. And 1,542 is a small number, but this is the number of foreign brand cars that cost more than 400 million won, which is about 300,000 US dollars. That was the number sold in South Korea in 2021, but it was up 25% from the previous year. Point being, there's a growing desire for these premium luxury market vehicles. Fun fact, over the last few years, South Korea has steadily been in the top 10 when it comes to global export figures. And on this one, I'm not positive about it, so let's just be cautious. However, there is a CEPA, or a Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, signed between India and South Korea back in 2009. Remember all of those negotiations Tesla had with India trying to reduce the import tariffs that really never got anywhere? Well, this deal between South Korea and India is equivalent to a free trade agreement. Part of this deal, South Korean car manufacturers will see large tariff cuts to below 1%. And this agreement will ease restrictions on foreign direct investments. So maybe this could be a little backdoor channel for Tesla to get into the Indian car market. It should go without saying, but some of the world's biggest battery producers, we're talking LG Energy, Samsung, and SK Innovation, are all South Korean companies that are also expanding heavily in the United States to take advantage of the Inflation Reduction Act. South Korean companies are set to account for half of United States battery production by the end of the decade. Also important to note, South Korea is a free trade agreement partner, meaning the battery components for the Inflation Reduction Act should qualify, but the minerals for these batteries are still heavily coming from China, so that supply chain still needs to be reconfigured to fully take advantage of the Inflation Reduction Act incentives. And have a look at the 5 biggest South Korean companies by market cap. In the top 5, you find Samsung, LG Energy Solution, and LG Chem. So yeah, South Korea seems to tick all of the boxes. Government willingness to allow speed for Tesla, auto suppliers being present in the area, battery cell suppliers being local, human resources, and a growing taste for premium and strong branded electric vehicles all have a check. But as always, the right place will largely come down to the closed-door private negotiations where Tesla will get certain incentives and which government will lay out the red carpet the nicest. Shifting gears, I found an awesome website on Reddit. So what this tool does, you can actually search through Elon's video appearances. Right now, the catalog's pretty small. I think it's around 25 different Elon videos. But what you can do, you can type in any text. For example, let's search for beta. So it'll pull up every time Elon says that word, and you can actually click each different instance, and it'll take you to that timestamp in the video. If this tool and this library can continually be built out in the future, this would be such a useful thing. I thought it was awesome, had to pass it along. Remember earlier when I said Tesla would be looking to avoid what it had to deal with in Giga Berlin? Well, here's some more of it still going on. We have climate activists blocking the Autobahn, blocking Tesla employees on their way to Giga Berlin, saying e-cars will not lead us out of this catastrophe. From Charlie Bolello, over the last 4 months, the average price of a used Tesla has come down $10,000. At the peak back in July, it was around $67,900. Fast forward to today and it's dropped to $57,000. I want to show you some data from this benchmark source article that I pulled and tweeted out earlier today. In the first half of this year, the United States added 5 gigawatt hours of battery capacity to the pipeline. So far in the second half of the year, 242 gigawatt hours have been added. What's the difference? Back in August, the Inflation Reduction Act was signed, so it's having a real impact. And yes, domestic EV manufacturers will benefit greatly by having more localized production in the years ahead. This one is from a source that I've never heard of before. I can't vouch for it. I don't really have any familiarity with this website. However, they apparently have a Tesla source, and they said Tesla has been working with major record labels for months to bring Dolby Atmos to Tesla cars, that theater surround sound experience. They said once the software update rolls out, over 1 million Teslas that are currently on the road will support Dolby Atmos, including all newly manufactured vehicles. And last up for today, none of my videos are financial advice, but I think for all-in Tesla investors, this chart is a very good reminder for all of us. Over the last 1 month, Tesla stock is the red line, Polestar stock is the white line. Tesla down 10% on the month, Polestar up 91% after reporting a gross profit in Q3. So again, not financial advice. I'm not trying to imply anything here, just stating over the last 30 days, we all would have been served well to have a few bucks in Polestar. And on the eve of Thanksgiving, I just want to take a second to genuinely say thank you and to tell you all how incredibly grateful I am for each and every one of you. Electrified has been such a blessing to Ashley and I over the past few years, and honestly, this community is so refreshing, encouraging, and positive most of the time. So just know that I love you guys. I pray for you often. I know that holidays can be very challenging and difficult for people, so if you're in that camp and it's a hard time for you, just know you'll be in my prayers. I love all of you, sending you our love and well wishes. Please like the video if you did. Hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving. I will most likely see you on Friday. If not, then on Monday. Peace.